this is Aubrey Bursch with Easy School Marketing. I'm excited you're here with me today. We're going to talk about admissions events, especially now is a really hot time to have an admissions event. Everyone's saying, how can we get new prospective families interested in our school and wow them at this admissions event, right? So here are a couple of things to consider. Like, we obviously want to make a great first impression. We want to have a very successful event. So this starts months in advance of your admissions event. So this means right now, when you're in that planning phase, you're setting the goals for your event. How many people do you want to attend? How many conversions are you hoping? Hopefully you're actually using data from past years to predict. But if you're not, at least you're starting with some goals, right? What are your goals for attendance and that experience, that customer experience? All those things are important. And then comes sharing your expectations. Like, who do you expect to attend? How do you expect them to dress? What is the expectation for behavior and engagement at that time period? And then make sure that you're sharing those expectations and goals with your faculty and staff, anyone who's involved with the admissions event. It's really important to share that information. The next piece is really one of the most overlooked pieces when you're planning an event, and that's going through the customer experience. I like to say we both have to mentally walk through the customer experience while we're planning the event, and then on the day of, and maybe I would prefer the day before, going through that experience, literally walking through it. Like, what sort of things? If it's raining out, where are they hanging their coats? Who's greeting them? What does parking look like? Is it going to be crazy that morning and you need to have people out there? Those are the things to think through as you're walking through the customer experience of your event mentally and then right before. In addition, as we're thinking about like the customer experience, that also is online, right? We want to make sure that when families go to register, that it's easy for them. That registration form should be as short as possible so that they're not having to fill out like an entire page of questions just to register to come to your admissions event. What information are we collecting and why? In addition, we want to make sure that whatever system we're using will send automatic reminders so that we have a high attendance rate, so that parents are getting text reminders as well as email so that they are planning to come to our event. They're not going to forget and let it slide, right? That's really important. Then the other piece that I think often gets overlooked is your promotion strategy, right? So when we're planning an admissions event, yes, we definitely want to rely on digital ads. Like, you should think about that as a runway up to your event so you can retarget people and really make the most of your digital ads, right? But there's also some things that people forget about. Facebook events, LinkedIn events, right? Those are huge. Making sure that your event is featured as an event on Google Business Profile, another key piece, right, that often gets overlooked. In addition, what's our social media rollout for this? Are we going to heavily feature it on social media, or is our social media mostly experienced through our current parents and we just want to keep it minimal? There are many ways to do this, right? What about neighborhood listservs? Those are a great option, and the Nextdoor app is often popular with families. Can we post on there and make sure that our event is known far and wide? In addition, I always say, where do we need students, right? If we need students in a certain grade or certain level, I always look to parents around that grade or level because they usually know other parents with those children that age, and ask them to personally outreach to friends and share on their social media and stuff like that so that you're getting interest from like-minded parents, right, in the community. Also, don't forget your website. You can have a pop-up on there and make sure your admissions event is featured there on the calendar as well. Another piece that is really important is kind of to determine how you're gathering information at the event and then how you're tracking, right? This is really key. Information at the event. I always say, what questions did people ask? Someone should be taking notes about that because that's a great way to build your FAQs, right? If one person is asking it, I guarantee 10 other parents are thinking it, right? What questions are people asking? Build that FAQ up. What are the preferences of the students that are coming? Is this one interested in sports? Is this one interested in the arts? How are we making sure that we're writing down that information and then making sure it gets back to the admissions director or whoever is in charge of processing all that information and making sure that you can have personalized follow-ups, right? What about notes and observations that maybe teachers at the event or staffing at the event have noticed about a particular family? This is often a good way to see families interact and also see if they're the right fit for your school. So how are you both collecting that information, tracking that information, and then we go on to using the information, which goes to the follow-up plan. So every admissions event, it might be a great success. If you have no follow-up plan, that is not considered a success. You're like leaving prospective families wallowing about, right? So we need to make sure that we have a really solid follow-up plan. So that means like, how are you going to collect data about students, about their interests and stuff? And then are you sending them a drip email campaign, like talking to them about the interests that they love? Let's say they love sports or something about your sports program. Are you inviting them to a community event later? What is your follow-up? It can't just be like, take the next step. It has to engage them, right? Are you mailing them a personal card for attending or sending them a Vidyard or Loom video saying, thanks for coming, Jenny? What is that personalized follow-up? Are you calling them? Are you texting them? And also, long-term, what is a follow-up? Let's say they don't take the next step. They should probably be on your admissions list that gets like maybe monthly updates from the school, talking about what's happening on campus and inviting people to community events. So I hope these admissions events tips really help you have an amazing admissions event. I want to hear all about it, so be sure to email me at aubrey@easyschoolmarketing.com.